Hello everyone, I am CoolGuy. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about slow, and I encourage you to watch this fully. You've read the title, seen the thumbnail. It doesn't come without reason. Hear me out, it's broken. It always has been. Slow is one of the most powerful things in the game, and that goes for both PvE and the Crucible. And as we've seen, these can be balanced differently. So today's talking about PvP. Slow and Duskfield is amazing in PvE. It works great, it's awesome. In the Crucible, we've seen small, short-lived metas going on, and I mean short-lived in the grand scheme of Destiny updates. The Warlock Freeze melee had a quick adjustment after the holidays. Shatter Dive and Fissures got adjusted. Not fully though, and I believe Fallout is making a video, or it's already made one by the time this one came out. There's still some things with it. I think the Duskfield needs to be looked at. Today I want to talk about the Duskfield mostly, but I'm also going to get into details about the Hunter melee and the Hunter slow dodge. It all coexists with slow. As I've always said, when you have feedback, be clear, be concise, explain the why. Why does it not work? Why is it a little too much? Why as a player do you feel this way? And I want to say something on my end. I do like stasis. I think it's fun. I do enjoy using it and playing against it. But with some of these things, the cards are really stacked against you when you play against them. Overall for stasis though, I think it does add a dynamic to the game that it needs, but I do feel that it should continually be fine-tuned. Because with what I'm going to go over today, if it doesn't get tuned, this is just how it's going to be for the rest of ever. And I think it's too much. With everything I'm about to go over, I do plan to show the why and help you better understand why A, you should just be using this thing period, and B, why it should eventually get tuned. And I know there's always a good fight to be had. I fight that good fight a lot of the time. I'm there most of the time. I'm down for the cause. I too want to buff rather than nerf. But Duskfield, slow in general, is broken. It has nothing to do with crying, it has nothing to do with taking the fun out. This is PvP centered. PvE stays the same, but by the end of this, I'm gonna list off everything that you can do with a Duskfield in PvP. I can almost guarantee, even with the skeptics out there, that if you finish fully to the end, you're gonna be like, yeah, you know what? That's a little too much. Something needs to be changed. That's not all right. And with this breakdown, there are things a lot of players just flat out don't know that it does to you. There's also certain techniques that I know a lot of players don't know about. And then on top of that, there are a lot of players that just don't know the severity of what it does to you. Duskfield has always been the strongest grenade because of what it does and what you can do with it. Even against the Glacier and Shatter Dive, it really is. And here's the quick refresher on what slow does per Bungie. Stasis slow against players, meaning PvP. Slow will reduce movement speed, reduce ability regeneration rates, suppress movement abilities like the jump and the dodge, reduce the following weapon stats: ADS speed, ADS move speed, weapon reload speed, weapon handling, weapon kick direction, reduces weapon accuracy. All of those things from being slow. So when a hunter dodges next to you, or you dodge next to someone, this is what you're doing with them. When you get hit with the shuriken, this is what's happening. There's also the Durance Fragment. Slow from your abilities lasts longer, and for those abilities to linger, the duration's also going to increase. So something like the Hunter Thrown melee, it doubles the time of being slowed. Something like the Duskfield, it adds 2.5-3 seconds to the overall length of it. As far as slow with Duskfield, you're going to be put inside. If you're close to it, it vacuums you to the center, and a very fast counter goes on the screen. Too fast, in my opinion. Slow times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10. Once you hit 10, you're frozen. If you don't immediately try to move out, you're gonna get frozen. And if you do get frozen, that gives the Hedron's buff to that player if they're running the fragment. So once you're inside, you have to move. You need at least 8 mobility or higher to somewhat get out confidently, but even then, if you aren't right on top of things, not moving immediately, you're gonna get frozen. You can't really stop and shoot to strafe, and if you do, it needs to be just one direction, shooting, trying to get out. After you get frozen, that animation is way too long. I think needs to replicate what Cold Snap does, just to kind of get out immediate, or take away the breakout animation because that's too long too. And I'm going to come back to this, but it's really important that we talk about this because we're going to tie everything up. There are a lot of issues with this list collectively. Then there are even more things that the Duskfield grenade can do, and I'm going to show you. All of these things just snowball. Some are worse than others. One of the things that I have an issue with is all of those weapon stats reduced. This would be okay if other things were just toned down, but they're not. Everything's just on top of each other and horrible. Your stats are tanked, and to give a clear representation of that visually, Hawkmoon has a great reload stat, and I have a reloader on. This reload is pretty nice, pretty sweet, gets the job done, but the moment that I'm slowed, look what happens to the reload. You can't even get it off before getting frozen, period. With most, if not all, weapons in the game, it's impossible to get a reload off before you're frozen. When you're slowed by a shuriken or the hunter dodge, or get hit by the behemoth charged melee, the same thing happens. You can't get that reload off. So we can kind of extrapolate here. I mean, that's happening to everything. They're tanked that bad. The ADS speed, strafing while aiming down sights, handling, the kick direction. Those are just the weapon stats. And again, you have to walk out of there. You can't jump out of there. For some reason, there are only two things that get out cleanly. It's supposed to suppress movement abilities, but the Titan Behemoth Behemoth Melee can get out of it, and also Top Tree Dawnblade. If those subclasses get slowed, or if they're caught in a Duskfield, they can use that movement ability to get to cover. I don't know why that is, it just puts them further up on the list of things that you almost have to use. The biggest thing is the reduced weapon accuracy. Look at how bad it tanks your accuracy, and I want to say this again because I really thought that we were past all this. In a first-person shooter, there is nothing worse than clearly aiming on a target and missing a shot. Really think about that. Clearly aiming on your target and missing the shot. When you're slowed by a shuriken or a dodge, when you get the Duskfield thrown on top of you, look what happens to your accuracy cone. It is tanked. Usually you don't see these types of things with the aim assist and accuracy cone when you're at max 105 field of view. But this is very clear, night and day. It's very bad. And in a very rare case, even with mouse and keyboard, you can see the cone angle change. It's wild. It's so bad. It doesn't matter what you have. It could be a pulse rifle, a scout, a hand cannon. It's like you're jumping up in the air. The accuracy just goes to nothing. Wide cone. The bullets go everywhere. This translates to when you aim down sight. So with another thing, in the Duskfield, it knocks you around each time you take the slow tick, all the way up to 10. So if you have a sniper rifle out, good luck, it's just gonna knock you around. When you have something out like a hand cannon, anything like that, it's gonna knock you every single time that it ticks. And if that isn't bad enough, we have this horrible accuracy penalty. Just like in Destiny 1, you could be on target, shoot that shot, and it just goes to an alternate reality, like it didn't even happen. All weapons. Yes, you do land shots, but you get these way more than you should, and it's because slow does this to your accuracy. And with the things that I've went over so far, here's the situation that it puts you in as a player. Once you're in that Duskfield, you have two options: return fire or try to get out of it so you don't get frozen. We already talked about trying to get out of it. It needs to be immediate. So you have the decision to commit to one of them. As you're getting slowed, these ticks are slapping around your reticle, and very fast you're gonna get frozen. So if you do stop and return fire, you have severely nerfed stats like reload that we talked about, aim down sight speed, handling, all of it. You're being kicked around. Your accuracy is nothing. It's literally a coin flip that you're even gonna land a shot. Or you know about these mechanics and you try to get out. Well, while you're trying to get out, you can't move fast, you can't dodge, you can't do anything. You're a sitting duck. Like right here, I land two very clean shots. The enemy jumps up into the air and throws a Duskfield down on me. Well, my two options come up. It's fight or flight. The first shot lands as a body shot. The second shot is on the shoulder, on the chest, but it just misses the target. On my end, with that issue, I'm trying to get out as fast as possible, because in theory, I should be able to turn, clean them up, get out of the Duskfield, because if I don't, I'm gonna get frozen, then I'm stuck there and I get cleaned up by another enemy. But no, I actually got tanked and I lost the gunfight, and it's happening with Last Word. It's comical with Last Word because you're already in hipfire. Shots are on, just nothing. Absolute nothing, you get one here or there. It's just a bad feeling. So if you do choose to fight, you have a very small window before you get frozen. And in this small window, you have all of these penalties. If you fail, you get frozen. If you decide not to fight and try to run out, you're not putting in damage, you're just an easy target to get, you're a sitting duck. With where I'm getting is, what are you supposed to do? The same thing when you get hit by a hunter melee. With Durance, this lasts for 4 seconds. Your accuracy is like this for 4 seconds. So if you're on hunter and you hit someone off of a wall with a bouncing one, or you hit them straight up with it, you need to try to duel them. More than likely, you're gonna outduel them with just how bad it punishes all their stats and accuracy. Like in all of these clips, I'm just hitting them with the thrown melee. I slow them, and I have Durance. So again, regular duration is 2 seconds. With Durance, it's double. It's for 4 seconds. So I hit them with it, and I literally see if they can kill me. And they can't. It's just way too much. And when you bring up this list, to me, it's like, pick one. Let's pick a couple of these and move on with our day, because all of it together is very excessive. The number one thing to me is accuracy. The second thing would be freeze time. Those two things together. Because I can live with slow handling, slow aim down sight, slow strafe speed, slow reload, if I can land the shots that I'm clearly aiming at. And on top of that, if I'm able to do it while moving out and not fear being frozen. So on top of that, I would like the slow timer to get toned down a little bit, because when you're in there, you're sucked into the middle, you're in a bad spot, you can't dodge, you can't do anything, it's fight or flight. Let me do one of those, at least. Because to me, when I throw it on someone, knowing that they're in there, I pulled them from cover, whatever it was, that's enough. Because nothing crazy is gonna happen, no back risk, they can't sprint, they can't double jump, they can't stoppy jump. It's gonna be a clean gunfight, and it's gonna be in my favor. Just being there, not being able to do certain things is enough. But with all of these things on top, the person being slowed is just severely penalized, but there's more. There's more that I want to talk about. We know that the Duskfield grenade freezes. For whatever reason, this freezes objects that it shouldn't. Not only do you have the things that the slow does to a player, you can use it in other ways. One thing that it does freeze is enemy Titan barricades, and that's a shame to me because as a Titan, you're doing the right thing. You're trying to secure a res, you're trying to stop a push, you're trying to wall off heavy ammo, you're trying to throw up Titan's ramparts to get damage through. But since I have Duskfield, like right here, I can punish you for doing so. In this clip, I throw it at the Titan that just threw up the shield. I have zero intention on dueling the Titan. I'm just waiting. Because after time, it's gonna freeze the barricade, and since I have Hedrons on, that's another stasis fragment, I'm granted the Hedrons buff because it froze the barricade. And the worst part, since it slow ticks so fast and keeps refreezing and refreezing, it keeps refreshing the timer. So I should have a 10-second damage buff, but since it's freezing it over and over, it keeps resetting it so the 10-second timer turns into about 15 seconds of increased damage, so I can just run around body shotting the Titan's teammates because he threw the barricade. It's not okay. It also works against glacier grenades, so maybe a behemoth is done with their super, or like right here, we have a hunter that throws a glacier grenade to wall off this choke point. Either that or they're waiting to shatter dive it if an enemy gets close. Well, I see it. I have zero intention of doing anything with the hunter. I just see the glacier grenade, so I Duskfield it. The same thing happens. I'm literally waiting. I watch it freeze. It's gonna keep resetting my timer. And then I'm walking around with 197 one-shot body damage with my Borealis just because I saw stasis on the field. It's not okay, and even worse, say I'm with a teammate. They throw a glacier grenade down, I can Duskfield that off of my own team's friendly glacier grenade. So say maybe a random throws one, or a random behemoth is done with their super, there's all those little glacier crystals on the field, I can run up to it, throw my Duskfield down on it. I'm gonna grab Hedrons for free and I can just one-shot body or two-tap with a 120. So let's bring this up one more time before closing. Slow against players reduces movement speed, reduces ability regeneration rates, suppresses movement abilities, reduces the following stats on your weapon: ADS speed, ADS movement speed, weapon reload speed, weapon handling, weapon kick direction, reduces weapon accuracy. Let's go ahead and add on Duskfield freezing Titan barricades grants Hedrons. Duskfield freezing enemy glaciers grants Hedrons. Duskfield freezing friendly glacier grenades will grant Hedrons. I ask you to look at this and just confidently say that this is alright, because even before coming in, I know a lot of you are thinking that I'm crying, or that I'm just another YouTuber trying to destroy the game. Look at it. The truth is, I care deeply about the game. I love this game. With what this is doing, it's way too much. I don't have the answers on what needs to change, I just know that something needs to change. I do think that it does start with getting accuracy back and making the freeze slower, then go from there. And the three things that I added there at the bottom of the list, those just need to go, period. There's no questions asked, they don't need to be there. I would like to thank you for your time. I would like to know what you think, and it's 100% a discussion worth having. Because as things get nerfed, players move to new things, and I feel that now is the time to talk about the Duskfield in PvP, and why I believe it's just too much. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. If you're looking for a new controller, I am partnered with Scuff Gaming. You can use the link down below and my code COOL at checkout for a discount. Let's talk about slow and the Duskfield down below. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.